Marcus Hale, a black man built like a fortress, but moving like a whisper, stepped through the metal gates of Greystone Penitentiary as if he'd been here before, as if he'd already measured the danger in the walls, counted the eyes watching him from the shadows, and judged them unworthy of his fear. Block D. Greystone's most violent tier did not greet new inmates with kindness. It greeted them like prey walking into the wolf den. And today, the wolves went very, very quiet. Marcus walked with an unnerving stillness, shoulders loose, hands open, gaze steady, not passive, not intimidated, just controlled. To controlled, even. The guards noticed it, whispering behind their radios, but none of them knew the truth. Stay with me until the end. Before we begin, don't forget to like this video, hit subscribe, and comment where you're watching from. Now, let's get into it. They didn't know this man once stepped into cages willingly. They didn't know crowds once screamed his name. They didn't know his fists had broken bones on pay-per-view screens long before they were forced to break anything for survival. No one knew Marcus Hale was a trained MMA fighter, a man who'd once walked into arenas to face monsters and beat them. But in here, he wanted no spotlight, only silence. Unfortunately, silence never lasts long in Greystone, especially not when Reaver is around. Reaver, Block D's self-made king, self-appointed executioner, and full-time nightmare, stood with his crew at the upper rail, tattoos crawling across his skin like warnings carved by a razor. His grin spread slow and cruel when he saw the new rival. A new face, strong build, confident walk. Reaver didn't see Marcus Hale. He saw an opportunity. He always introduced himself to newcomers, not with a handshake, but with humiliation. And he never failed, because no one ever fought back. No one knew how. Not yet. Cell 47 smelled like old concrete, and fear soaked into the mattress foam. Marcus tossed his folded uniform onto the top bunk. His cellmate, Denny, a thin, weary man who looked like he'd been here since electricity was invented, stared at Marcus over his reading glasses. "You've got a death wish," Denny said. Marcus raised an eyebrow. "I just walked in." "Exactly," Denny replied. "And I already heard them whispering, betting. Reaver's interested in you." Marcus sat on the lower bunk without reaction. "He notices everyone." Denny laughed, a short, nervous sound. "Yeah, but he likes you. And trust me, you don't want Reaver liking you." Marcus kept quiet. Denny watched him with curiosity. "You a fighter or something?" Marcus didn't answer, which was answer enough. Denny whistled softly. "Well, if you are, don't show it. Guys like Reaver, they can smell a challenge. He'll try to break you just so the block sees who's in charge. I'm not here to challenge anyone," Marcus said. Denny raised both eyebrows, then walked slower. "Hide your shoulders. Stop looking like you could lift the building if you wanted to." Marcus smirked for the first time, but that smile faded quickly when the evening bell echoed across Block D. Dinner time, which meant Reaver time. The cafeteria hummed with hostility. Trays scraping, guards shouting, the thick smell of cheap food and cheaper intentions. Marcus sat alone, focusing on his potatoes when the air shifted, a hush sliding down the room like a cold wind. He didn't need to look up to know who stood behind him. Reaver's shadow fell across his tray. "New guy," Reaver said, voice low but carrying the weight of someone used to being feared. "Why you eating alone?" "That's rude." Marcus didn't even raise his head. "I prefer quiet." Reaver leaned closer. "Oh, then you're in the wrong prison, brother." Marcus finally looked up. Their eyes locked. Reaver's grin widened. His crew crept in behind him, blocking the aisle. "You're sitting at my table," Reaver said. Marcus calmly looked at the empty seats surrounding him. "I don't see your name on it." A gasp rippled across the room. Denny slapped a palm over his face. "Oh, we're all dead," he murmured. Reaver chuckled slow, amused, dangerous. "All right then," he said. "We'll do this the fun way." He grabbed Marcus's tray and flipped it, sending potatoes spraying across the floor. The cafeteria froze. Marcus didn't flinch, didn't move, didn't blink. Reaver leaned down so close Marcus could feel his breath. "Stand up," Marcus spoke. Quietly. "No." Reaver's jaw flexed. "What did you say?" "I said no," Marcus repeated. I don't stand up because someone wants to feel tall. A murmur swept through the inmates. Some backed away, some leaned in. All waited. Reaver's grin finally broke. Oh, you're one of those guys, the quiet ones. The ones who think being calm makes them strong. He cracked his knuckles. Let's see how calm you stay with a busted jaw. Reaver swung. A wide, heavy punch designed to intimidate, not just harm. Marcus moved before the thought even finished forming in his mind. A small shift. A controlled pivot. His hand shot up, caught Reaver's wrist midair, twisted it gently, but with terrifying precision. Reaver gasped. The entire cafeteria flinched. No one had ever touched Reaver. Like that. Marcus slowly released him. Calm, cold, almost bored. Sit down, Marcus said quietly. Eat your dinner. Leave me in peace. Reaver stared at him, then laughed. A short, sharp laugh with no humor in it. You've got skill, Reaver said, massaging his wrist. But you think this is a fair fight. You think this is about fists. No. Seek in Greystone. Fights don't end when the guards pull us apart. He leaned in close, lips almost brushing Marcus's ear. In here, fights end when I say they end. Marcus didn't respond. But the silence, the stillness, the lack of fear, that spoke louder than any threat. Reaver backed up, eyes locked on Marcus. This isn't over, he said, and the room felt those words, like a chill running down their spines. Night came heavy. Guards shouted lights out. Metal doors slammed shut. Denny lay in the bottom bunk wide awake, staring at the ceiling. You shouldn't have done that, he whispered. Marcus didn't answer. From the top bunk, you think Reaver's going to let that slide? Denny continued. Man like him, you embarrassed him in public. Marcus finally spoke. I didn't want to fight. Doesn't matter, Denny replied. You got one. Silence again. But it wasn't peaceful. It was the kind of silence right before a storm breaks. Marcus, Denny whispered. You don't look scared. Marcus stared at the ceiling through the darkness. I've been scared before, he said quietly. This isn't it. Denny swallowed hard. Who were you out there? Marcus inhaled slowly. Someone I don't want to be again. A clang echoed down the hall. Marcus froze. Denny sat up, startled. Boots, soft, sneaking. Voices, low whispers, multiple. Reaver's crew. Denny's face drained of color. Oh no. Oh no. Marcus, they're coming right now. Marcus slid off the bunk with calm precision, bare feet landing silently on the cold concrete. He didn't clench his fists. He didn't posture. He didn't panic. He simply exhaled and let the fighter he'd tried so hard to bury rise slowly from the depths. The cell door lock clicked. Someone had bribed a guard or stolen a key. The door creaked open. Four figures slipped inside, shadows with shanks, knuckles wrapped, eyes hungry for violence. Reaver wasn't with them. Not yet. This was the warm-up. Denny scrambled into the corner, trembling. Marcus, they'll kill you. You know that, right? They'll kill you. Marcus didn't answer. He stepped forward. Light from the hallway spilled onto his fast orange uniform, illuminating the hard calm in his eyes. The first attacker lunged. Fast, aggressive, sloppy. Marcus sidestepped, grabbed his arm, and flipped him with a smooth judo sweep that slammed him onto the concrete with a thud that shook the bunk. The second rushed in, swinging wildly. Marcus ducked, drove an elbow into his ribs, and the man folded like paper. The third hesitated, and that was his mistake. Marcus didn't hesitate. A knee to the stomach, a twist of the wrist, a shove that sent him crashing into the toilet. The fourth man backed up, terrified. You're insane. He stammered. Marcus stepped forward, slow and controlled. No, he said quietly. I just know how to fight. The man bolted out of the cell, screaming down the hall for Reaver. Marcus didn't chase him. He simply turned around, breathing steady. Denny stared at him like he'd just witnessed something impossible. Who are you? Denny whispered. Marcus didn't answer because the sound of heavy boots was now echoing down the hallway. Not sneaking, not hiding. Walking with confidence. Reaver. Coming alone, coming angry, coming to finish what he started. Denny gripped the bunk frame, shaking. Marcus, this is bad. This is really, really bad. Marcus stepped into the doorway of the cell, shoulders squared, jaw set. His voice dropped to a cold whisper. "It's fine. I'm done hiding." Reaver's shadow appeared, growing larger with each step, burning with fury. Marcus stood tall in his fast orange uniform, eyes unblinking, body finally ready for the fight he didn't want, but could no longer escape. And as Reaver reached the doorway, smiling with all his teeth, Marcus Hale whispered, "Come on then." And the block held its breath. The real fight was about to begin. Reaver filled the doorway like a storm with a heartbeat. His shadow swallowed the dim light of the hallway as he stepped into cell 47, slow, deliberate, savoring the tension like a predator who enjoyed watching fear bloom before the kill. Except tonight, there was no fear in Marcus Hale. Just readiness, just control, just the quiet, patient stillness of a man who had walked into cages far more dangerous than this one and survived. Denny pressed himself into the far corner of the cell, breath trembling. He knew what Reaver could do. He'd seen bones snap in that hallway, heard screams echo for nights. But he had never seen Reaver's men beaten like they were toys thrown around by a bored giant. And now Reaver had seen it too. He stepped over one of his unconscious crew members, sprawled across the floor, expression unreadable. "Get up," Reaver said softly, nudging the man with his boot. No answer. He nudged another, no response. He looked up at Marcus with a grin that stretched tight across his face. "You did this." Marcus didn't blink. "They chose it." Reaver chuckled, low and dangerous. "You've got some skill, I'll give you that. But skill don't mean a thing in here, inside Greystone. It's numbers, it's control. And you," he pointed at Marcus, "you just made yourself the #1 target." Marcus took one step forward. The cell felt too small for the weight between them. "I didn't want a target," Marcus said. "I wanted peace." Reaver cracked his neck slowly. "And see, that right there, that is your problem." He lifted his chin, eyes blazing. "Peace don't exist in Block D." Then he lunged. No warning, no words, just raw force like a human wrecking ball launched with murderous intent. Marcus dodged left, absorbing the movement with trained precision. Reaver's shoulders smashed into the concrete wall, shaking dust from the ceiling. Reaver spun, faster than his size should have allowed. This time he jabbed, a quick strike testing, probing. Marcus blocked, parried, stepped back. Denny watched, stunned. Reaver wasn't a brawler. He was skilled, controlled, a real fighter. But Marcus was something else entirely. Reaver swung again. A clean right hook. Marcus ducked, countered with a body shot fast, sharp, perfectly placed. Reaver grunted, stumbled back a step, then laughed through the pain. "Oh, now we're talking." He rushed again. But Marcus wasn't overwhelmed. He caught Reaver's arm, redirected his momentum, and the two men crashed into the bunks, the entire frame rattling like it might snap. Denny dove under the bed, screaming, "Why here? Why now?" The fight tightened. Close quarters, brutal. Reaver grabbed Marcus by the shirt and slammed him against the wall. The impact cracked the paint. "You think you're tough," Reaver growled. Marcus shoved off the wall, breaking Reaver's grip, and delivered a sharp elbow to Reaver's cheek. Blood blossomed instantly. Reaver wiped it and stared at the red smear on his fingers. "That all you got?" Marcus didn't respond. He didn't talk during fights. Reaver roared and threw another punch, but this time, Marcus caught the wrist. Mid-air, twisted, stepped sideways, and swept Reaver's leg in one fluid motion. The Block D King hit the floor. Hard. Silence stretched. Denny peeked out from under the bed. "No way," he whispered. "No freaking way." Reaver lay there for a second, staring up at the ceiling as if trying to understand what just happened. Then he laughed, a deep, rumbling, unhinged laugh that didn't match the situation. "You're good," Reaver said. "Real good." He pushed himself up slowly, wiping blood from his lip. "But now I know your level." He pointed a finger at Marcus. "And I'm not done." Marcus's breathing was controlled, steady, prepared. "I don't want to fight you," he said. Reaver smirked. "Too late. You already did." The guards rushed down the hall at that moment, shouting as they saw the unconscious men on the ground. "Inmate, fight! Back up! Back up!" Reaver stepped back, lifted his hands, and smiled like he'd just finished his morning stretch. Marcus stood still, unthreatening, calm. The guards swarmed them, slamming Marcus face first against the wall to cuff him. He didn't resist. Reaver's grin widened. He didn't get cuffed. He didn't get touched. He simply winked at Marcus as both were dragged away in opposite directions. "This aren't over," he mouthed silently. Later that night, Marcus sat alone in solitary, staring at the wall. Tiny room, concrete everywhere, cold air, silence. He welcomed the silence. Solitary confinement was supposed to break a man. But for Marcus, it felt like a piece of heaven, a temporary escape from Block D's wolves. He breathed deeply, centering himself like he had before fights. He counted the seconds. He visualized peace. But peace didn't come, because Reaver's words wouldn't stop echoing in his mind. "This aren't over." Marcus had been in dozens of fights in his MMA career, but this was different. In prison, a fight wasn't a moment. It was a chain reaction, one that didn't end until someone broke or someone died. Marcus didn't want that. Not anymore. He came to prison to disappear, to stay quiet, to serve his time without becoming the man he once was, the man who lived for violence. But Reaver was forcing him back into that version of himself, and Marcus hated it. When they finally released him from solitary, the block was buzzing with whispers. He dropped Reaver's crew. He made Reaver bleed. "We've never seen anyone do that. Is he crazy? Reaver's going to kill him." Marcus ignored all of it. He walked back to his cell. Denny sat on the bottom bunk looking traumatized, as if he'd aged. 10 years and 2 days. "You're alive," Denny said. "I mean, I knew you were alive, but I wasn't sure you'd stay alive." Marcus climbed onto his bunk without a word. Denny swallowed. About the block rumor mill. "Well, apparently, you're famous now." Marcus didn't react. Denny held up his hands. "Look, man, you need protection." "No," Marcus said. "Yes," Denny insisted. "Reaver isn't going to let this go. You embarrassed him. Beat his guys. Beat him. People are saying he's planning something big." Marcus stared down at him. "Like what?" Denny shuddered. "I heard he's going to get you during yard time. Or showers. Or hell, he might burn the cell down. Reaver doesn't forgive." Marcus leaned back. Neither do fighters who've trained their whole life not to lose. But something in Marcus's tone wasn't pride. It was regret. Denny frowned. "You really were a fighter, weren't you?" Marcus didn't answer for several seconds. "Then I was." "And were you good?" Denny asked. Marcus looked away. "To good." Denny didn't ask more. Some answers weren't meant to be chased. Later that afternoon, Marcus stepped onto the prison yard. The sun beat down hard, turning the orange uniforms into a sea of burning lights. Every head turned toward him, some with curiosity, some with admiration, most with fear. He didn't want any of it. He just wanted to walk, breathe, think. But as soon as he took 5 steps, he felt the shift, a change in the air. The way whispers hushed, the way the crowd parted like water around a boat. Reaver. He stood near the pull-up bars, arms crossed, watching Marcus with the calm, steady patience of someone who had already decided how the next few minutes would go. 3 of his men stood around him, fresh fighters, bigger than the ones Marcus had already dropped. Tattoos thick like armor, expressions carved from stone. Marcus slowed. Denny, far behind him, muttered under his breath, "Oh no, not the yard. Anywhere but the yard." Reaver stepped forward. "You know," he called out, loud enough for everyone to hear, "I've been thinking about you." Marcus didn't respond. Reaver smiled. "You fight like you've done it before. Not street fighting, not prison scrapping, real fighting. Professional, clean strikes, tight footwork." He stopped in front of Marcus. "So, tell me, new guy, what were you out there? Boxer, Marine, assassin?" Marcus met his gaze. "MMA." The yard burst into whispers. Reaver grinned wider. "Knew it. Knew you had something special in you." His smile faded. "But that don't change a thing." Reaver stepped closer, whispering now, "You beat me once. You got lucky. But here, luck runs out fast." Marcus's voice was steady. "I don't want to fight you, tough," Reaver said. "Because I want to fight you." He signaled his men. 3 large inmates surrounded Marcus. Denny screamed from the bleachers, "Marcus, run or don't run, just do something that keeps you alive." The guards watched lazily. They knew better than to intervene too early. They liked entertainment. Reaver cracked his knuckles. "We finish this now." Marcus exhaled slowly. He didn't want this. He didn't ask for this. But sometimes the universe pushed a man exactly where he didn't want to go. The first fighter lunged. Marcus sidestepped, struck him in the throat with a quick jab, and the man hit the ground gasping. The second came swinging a heavy punch. Marcus ducked, pivoted, kicked him in the knee, and the joint buckled. The third grabbed Marcus from behind. Marcus spun, elbowed him in the jaw, then slammed him onto the pavement. 3 men down. Reaver's eyes burned with something new. Not anger, not fear. Respect. Then he smiled. "You ready?" For round 2, Marcus didn't move. "I don't want this," he said quietly. "Stop pushing it." Reaver leaned in, a whisper dripping with challenge. "Make me." Marcus inhaled slowly, then finally lifted his fists. The yard erupted as the 2 men stood face to face. Reaver swung first. Marcus blocked. Reaver struck again. Marcus countered. Reaver grabbed his shoulders. Marcus broke free. The fight escalated hard, fast, relentless. This wasn't like the cell fight. This was bigger, bolder, louder. Reaver fought like a man possessed, every punch thrown with fury and precision. Marcus fought like a controlled storm, measured, sharp, devastating. Every strike echoed. Every dodge drew gasps. Every movement sent shockwaves across the yard. Then Reaver landed a heavy hit. A punch straight across Marcus's jaw. Marcus staggered. Just a step. Just enough to prove Reaver's power. Reaver laughed breathlessly. "You bleed like the rest of us." Marcus straightened, blood on his lip, eyes steady. "So do you." Then he hit Reaver with a clean, brutal right cross. Reaver stumbled 2 steps back, surprise flickering across his face. The yard went silent. Reaver exhaled slowly. "You really are something." Marcus lowered his hands. "It ends here," he said. Reaver stared at him, long, silent, calculating. Then he smiled, not the mocking smile, not the sadistic one, a real one. "You know what, Hale, I like you." The yard gasped. Reaver stepped closer. "You're done fighting me." "I'm done fighting you." Marcus blinked. "What?" Reaver grinned. "Because starting today, you're under my protection." Marcus froze. Denny fell off the bleacher. "What?" Reaver extended a hand. "You don't want trouble. I get that. But trouble wants you. And in here, a man like you either becomes prey," he paused, "or becomes something bigger." Marcus didn't take the hand. Reaver smirked. "No rush. You'll figure it out." He turned and walked away, his crew limping behind him. The yard buzzed louder than ever. Marcus stood still, mind racing. He hadn't won. He hadn't lost. He hadn't surrendered. But Reaver had changed the game. And Marcus knew this wasn't over. Not even close. Because alliances, in prison, they came with a price. And Reaver never gave anything for free from the outside. It looked like things had changed. Reaver no longer hunted Marcus. He no longer sent men to corner him in the showers, no longer shadowed him in the cafeteria, no longer stalked him during yard hours like a predator studying prey. Now Reaver only watched, studied. Measured. And that was worse. Much worse. Because Marcus Hale had learned in his MMA days that a man who smiles with bruises on his face isn't content. He's planning. Denny saw it too. He'd whisper from behind his paperback novels, eyes darting nervously. "Marcus, I think Reaver's waiting for something. A moment, an opening, a reason." Marcus agreed silently. Reaver was too smart, too dominant, too prideful to simply forgive and forget. But Marcus also sensed something else, something unexpected. Reaver respected him, and in prison, respect was a double-edged blade, one side protection, the other danger. 3 days after the yard fight, Marcus was quietly eating lunch when Reaver sat directly across from him. Not with violence, not with threat, just sat. The entire cafeteria froze. Reaver grinned. "You're a hard man to figure out, Hale." Marcus kept eating, then stopped trying. Reaver ignored the jab. "You're not scared of me. Most men in here can't even look me in the eyes. But you," he pointed, "you look through me. I'm just eating my food." Reaver chuckled. "You H, huh? Sure. Let's pretend you're a regular guy." He leaned in. "But you're not. Not even clothes, Marcus sighed. What do you want? Reaver, simple, Reaver said. I want you to be on my side. Marcus stopped chewing. Reaver continued, voice low and serious. No games, no ambushes, no threats this time. I'm offering you a place beside me. I run Block D, but with you, we could run the whole prison. The words were heavy. Denny, watching from across the room, dropped his spoon. Marcus looked up. I'm not joining anything. Reaver laughed. Man, you still act like you got choices here. I do. Marcus said calmly. I choose to stay out of your business. Reaver's smile faded. He leaned closer, eyes cold and sharp, in Greystone. Being alone isn't strength, it's suicide. Marcus put down his fork. I'm not here to build kingdoms. I'm here to serve my time and leave. Reaver studied him. You really believe walking quiet keeps you safe? Safer than walking loud. Reaver shook his head. You're living in the wrong world, Hale. And you're living in the only world you know. Marcus said that the cafeteria held its breath. Reaver stood, looked Marcus over, then said, one day, Hale, you'll realize peace don't survive here. Then you'll come find me. He walked away. No threats, no violence. But Marcus knew that wasn't mercy. That was a warning. That night, everything changed. The alarms blared at 2 a.m., deafening sirens that shook every bunk and rattled the metal doors. Denny shot upright, panicked. What now? A riot? A fire? We're dead, Marcus. Dead. Marcus was already on his feet. Eyes narrowed, ears tuned to the chaos outside. Voices, running footsteps, shouting guards. Then the announcement, lockdown. All inmates stay in cells. But the noise didn't stop. If anything, it grew. Denny crawled to the bars and peeked out. His face drained of color instantly. Oh no, Marcus. They're fighting. Block B and Block C full riot. Weapons, fire, the whole place is going wild. Marcus exhaled slowly. He knew riots. Riots weren't random. Riots were planned. And someone always planned them for a reason. The next sound hit like a hammer. Bang, bang, bang. Not guards, not inmates. Someone was trying to break into cell 47. Denny screamed. Who would? But Marcus already knew. He stepped toward the door. Reaver's voice came through the crack. Hale, open up. Denny went white. No dash, no dash, no dash, Marcus. Don't you dare, he's come to finish you. But Marcus didn't move. Reaver shouted again, louder. Hale, open this damn door. I need you. The cell lock clicked from outside. The door swung open. Reaver burst inside, not with hate, but with urgency. Move, he barked. Marcus frowned. What's happening? Reaver grabbed his arm. You're coming with me. What? Why? Reaver looked him dead in the eye. Because they're not after the block. They're after you. Silence hit the room like a slap. Denny dropped beside his bunk. Marcus didn't react outwardly, but his mind sharpened instantly. Who's after me? Reaver scowled. Block C's leader, Garrison. Heard about you beating my guys. Heard you. Beat me. Marcus clenched his jaw. He thinks taking you out makes him the toughest man in Greystone. Reaver pointed toward the hallway where distant screams echoed. He's using the riot as cover. He's got men looking everywhere for you. Denny squeaked. So what do we do? Reaver glared at him. Nothing. You, hide and pray. He turned to Marcus. You come with me. Now, Marcus didn't like being dragged into anyone's war. He didn't like being used. But the alarm, the screams, the rattling doors, it told him one thing. If he stayed still, Garrison's men would find him, and they wouldn't come with fists. Marcus stepped forward. Lead the way. Reaver grinned. Knew you had brains. Denny grabbed Marcus's wrist. Please come back alive. Marcus gave a rare, faint smile. No promises. Reaver guided him through shadowed hallways, avoiding guards and rioters alike, moving with the practiced skill of someone who'd navigated chaos before. We're going to the boiler hall, Reaver said. No one goes there during riots. Too hot. Too cramped. Why help me? Marcus asked without slowing. Reaver smirked. You think I'm doing this out of kindness? Hell no. Then why? Reaver stopped at a corner, peeked around, then answered, because if Garrison takes you out, he rises, and if he rises, I fall. Marcus understood instantly. You're protecting your throne. Reaver shrugged. And a little bit of protecting you. Marcus raised an eyebrow. Reaver rolled his eyes. Look, I don't like you. You don't like me. But I respect you. And in prison, respect is rarer than oxygen. They moved again. But as they reached the boiler hallway, Reaver froze. The lights flickered. Footsteps echoed. Too many. Reaver cursed under his breath. They found us. Marcus stepped forward calmly. How many? Reaver grimaced. 8. Maybe 10. Marcus nodded. Once, okay. Reaver blinked. Okay, WHAT. Marcus cracked his neck. We end it. Reaver stared at him, then laughed. Oh hell, I knew there was a beast in there somewhere. The first wave hit fast. Garrison's men stormed the hallway, armed with pipes, sharpened plastic, homemade knives. Their footsteps thundered like a stampede. Reaver whispered, you take the left. I'll take the, but Marcus was already moving. He struck with precision, no wasted motion, no hesitation. A jab to the throat, a sweep to the legs, a fist to the solar plexus. Bodies hit the floor. Reaver fought beside him, wild, brutal, but effective. The hallway became a storm of clashing bodies and echoing grunts. One man stabbed forward with a sharpened toothbrush. Marcus dodged, grabbed his arm, twisted until bone cracked, then used the same arm to strike another attacker. Reaver whistled mid-fight. Damn Hale, you sure you're not part machine? Marcus didn't answer. He was fully in the zone now, focused, controlled. Deadly dot, but then the hallway shifted. A large figure approached. Slow, heavy, confident. Garrison. 7 feet tall in rumor, 6'6" in reality. Muscles like steel beams under his uniform. A scar crossing his left eye. He stopped 10 feet away. Reaver muttered, well, we're screwed. Garrison cracked his knuckles. So, you're the fighter, he said to Marcus. The one who embarrassed Reaver. The one who thinks he's untouchable. Marcus said nothing. Garrison smiled darkly. I want your head. Reaver stepped forward. You'll have to go through me first. Garrison smirked. Gladly. He grabbed Reaver and slammed him against the wall like he weighed nothing. Marcus moved instantly. He threw a punch. Garrison blocked. He pivoted. Garrison countered. He kicked. Garrison shrugged it off. He was strong. Stronger than Reaver. Stronger than most fighters Marcus had ever seen. But strength wasn't everything. Garrison lunged with a massive swing. Marcus ducked and struck his ribs. Garrison grunted. Good. A weak point. Marcus hit again. Again. Garrison roared and charged. Marcus sidestepped, grabbed his arm, used his momentum and slammed the giant into the metal boiler tank. The sound shook the room. Garrison collapsed. Reaver staggered to his feet, wide-eyed. Remind me never to piss you off. Marcus exhaled. The fight was over. Guards stormed in seconds later, riot batons raised. Everyone was thrown to the ground, zip-tied, dragged away. But Marcus didn't resist. He'd done enough. Hours later, after the riot was finally contained, Marcus found himself back in his cell, bruised, exhausted, but alive. Denny nearly cried. You're alive. I thought they'd kill you, or you'd kill them, or both. Marcus sat on his bunk, silent. He felt something different now. He had tried so hard to live quietly, but quiet didn't survive in Greystone. Peace wasn't granted. It was taken, protected, fought for. A shadow appeared at the bars. Reaver, bruised, bandaged, but grinning. Well, Reaver said, looks like you saved my life. Marcus didn't respond.